Hello and welcome. Today we've got a really fun Mother's Day card, and I'm using some of the club kits from the month. And we're going to be using the classic kicks. I thought this large die of the month was just so much fun. I wanted to work with it again. And I've also got the greetings maker. And as I mentioned on a previous video, I'm making some Mother's Day cards for a party. This one is also Scrap Buster. I've got several scraps here from my scraps, and I'm just going to do all of my die cutting. I thought I'm just going to get my scrap bin out. I'm going to pick out some colors that I like, and I'm just going to do a whole bunch of die cutting from these scraps and try to use some of these up. So I thought it'd be fun to just bring in the scraps, bring in the scout. All of these dies are small enough that we can run them through the scout, and we'll just get all of these going. And I sped this up tremendously. I didn't think you probably wanted to watch 6 or 8 minutes of me die cutting. So we're just going to get all of these bits and pieces. I'm doing multiples of the flowers just so that and the leaves so that we'll just have plenty of pieces to adorn our card. I thought this, I've used this classic kicks for kind of some masculine cards previously and had fun with it, but it's a really cute shoe, and I think it can be used for Mother's Day card as well, especially with all the flowers. So I decided that we would bring it in and we would pair it with the greetings maker, because we've got Happy Mother's Day, we've got to the best mom ever, best mom ever. You could do Mother's Day wishes. You could just mix it up and really do a lot of those. And so that's why I wanted to pair those. And I'm just finishing up here, bringing in some white for the tennis shoe and just getting all the pieces. And now we're back down to regular speed. So I'm just going to put my die cut pieces away, and we're going to get to assembling the focal point of our card, which is going to be this white tennis shoe. And I'm going to be bringing in some of the Spellbinders. The cardstock that I use there is Spellbinders. And so I just chose basically from what I had in the scraps and went with that. And so we're going to be using, I've got Hammer Mill White for the shoe, and I'm going to get it put together, and then we'll bring in the colors. So I've got Mulberry for the flowers, and I've also am bringing in Oceanside for the leaves, for those real dark teal leaves. And I'm using some of the Waterfall for the other florals. And then I had a strip of the Lilac. And so those are all Spellbinders cardstock. And the white is the Hammermill that I use. And I'm going to get this laid down. Now, I prematurely laid this decorative piece out here. I forgot to put the toe on. It's laying there. I will figure it out as I'm moving along, and I will be able to lift it up and get it on there. Now, I did use the Mulberry for the trim piece on here. I thought that would be a fun color to add to it. And so I've just got this strip here. What I'm doing with my fingers is just taking and rubbing the die cut kind of hairs off of there so that it'll be a real clean piece, and lay it down on here. Here's where I realized, oh, you didn't put your toe on there. So I'm going to go ahead and get this decorative element laid on the hill, and then we'll lift this up and tuck the toe piece. When I put that trim piece down, I thought, it's not fitting right. I'm not lining it up right. And it's because you had this other piece in there, and that did make the difference. So just get that piece pinched in there, add a little bit more glue, and lay this trim piece down. And super cute. There's our shoe. With this white piece here goes on the back, but I'm waiting because I'm thinking I want to leave room to stuff my flowers in. But here is the shoestrings, and I chose the Mulberry for the shoestrings because I thought those would be super fun. Just a pink element and kind of make it look like a pair of girls' shoes. So we'll get it laid down on here. You've got the laces that go through the eye holes of the shoes, and then you've got the two strings. We've got a straight string I'm going to lay down on this outside, and then we've got kind of a wavy string that I'm going to put on the back side of it. And so we'll just get this laid down. And I realized after I did half the video that I had my camera set up. It wasn't clamped in the clamp completely, and so it's like at an angle here. So you've kind of got a weird angle of my glass mat and the side of my table. Once I pause to grab some things, then I realize that I've got it all out of whack and I will straighten it up. So there's our tennis shoe. I think it's super fun. And I'm going to start looking at some of the floral elements and assembling those. And then I'll realize I've got some pieces here that I need to add. I'm going to add some decorative elements to the tennis shoe as well. So I'm going to start off with the blooms, and I've got these two little smaller blooms that we're going to get laid down on here. And I have used that waterfall cardstock for that. And then we'll just get them attached and get them assembled. And we're just going to get going. I had planned on getting this channel or this video uploaded sooner to my channel. I'm behind. I have been behind. There's just been too much stuff going on. And then I needed to run some errands. And what I thought was just going to be like 2 stops, I wound up making 4 stops and spending a great deal of time at a couple of them. And so I'm kind of getting at this a little bit later than what I planned on, but I did get some things done. Now here's where I'm going to take the little, this is like the logo that would go on the side of the shoe, and I've used the mulberry for it. And I've got some really tiny floral pieces that I'm going to add to it and just make it look like a flower on there, just kind of a decorative element. And so we'll bring in some of those and we'll decorate this little kind of logo area with our little, these are like the insides of the flowers. And I'm just going to layer up a couple pieces and just make it look like a little floral piece there on there. And I think it'll be super cute. And we'll just get that on there. And I actually didn't get back to the house until after 2 o'clock, and I haven't had anything to eat all day. So I've got some chicken in the air fryer cooking so that I thought, well, I'll do this voiceover while I'm waiting for that. I'm going to make a salad with some chicken strips in it is what I'm going to do. So I'm anxiously awaiting that to get done so that I can get something to eat. Because I ate pretty light last night and then haven't eaten anything yet today. So I'm ready to get something to eat. So I'm going to bring some of these flower centers and lay them down on this. This die for the centers actually cuts out a ring and then a centerpiece, and you can just kind of mix and match. And I'm just going to grab different pieces and just mix and match and create some different looking centers for these. And we'll get them assembled. And I'm just going to take, the various ones and add some centers. I will come back in and add some embellishments to the centers as well, but we're just going to put together several floral elements that we can kind of stuff this tennis shoe with. And then we'll bring in our greeting maker and we'll do some foiling and create our sentiment for this card. So our weather is starting to kind of move back into some decent weather. We've got some sunshine. It is a bit cooler than what we had. We kind of had that really warm snap and it was beautiful. And then we got, the cold snap with a freezing rain. Actually, it was hell. We had bigger than pea-size hell one night, and it was pretty bad. But anyway, it's just a little bit colder, but we are enjoying some sunshine, which is so nice. I'm so glad to have the sunshine. And I am starting to get to feel better. I am still not 100%. My head is still foggy. I'm still kind of congested and have a little bit of a cough, but I don't feel near as bad, and I'm certainly not running a fever. So this is the back piece, and I thought, well, I could put it on here, and I thought, well, I want to actually tuck some things in, so I'm going to bring in a piece of foam and layer it on there so that thinking that I'll have enough room to tuck it, but I'll actually wind up having to trim down some of my stems just to get them tucked in there. But this is the back piece. This creates so you can see the inside of the shoe. And when it all gets said and done and I add all of my flowers to it, you're not actually going to see it, but it is part of the shoe, so I went ahead and added it on there. And then I'm trying to see if I can tuck this leaf down in there, and I can. But when I move on to the other pieces, I'll realize that I'm not going to be able to tuck them in, so I will trim them off. So we'll just put a little bit of glue on here and just start tucking. And we're just going to build this focal point. It's just going to be super pretty. Just lots of flowers and this fun tennis shoe. I've had a lot of fun with this die set. I think this is probably the 3rd card that I've made with it, and I hope you're not getting tired of seeing it on my channel, but I just think it's a great set. And you know what? We pay good money for the products that we have. Now, I will say Spellbinders does send me the product, but just in thinking about, people that are purchasing the club kits and stuff, just trying to provide additional inspiration to them and different ways that we can use these products and make them fun. So I hope you're, getting good use out of your club kits, and, using them multiple times because, certainly there's a cost associated with them and we should be using them and having fun with them. So I just wanted to show that you can do different things with this. I did one with kind of the grill, with the hot dog and the grill pieces, and then I also did a set and paired it with the hat, and I thought it was super fun. I'm going to bring in this foil. I didn't like that piece. My grandson had periodically grabbed this roll of foil and messed with it, and he kind of had it. There were like wrinkles in it and stuff, and I was just afraid it wouldn't foil very well, so I went ahead and threw that out and brought in another piece. I didn't get a perfect foiling on it, but it turns out okay. And we're going to use it. So I'm going to get that on there, and while we're doing that, I'm going to get things cleaned off. I think I've straightened up my camera at this point, and I'm going to bring in my Spellbinders Platinum 6 so that we can run it through on camera so you can actually see the process for this. Sometimes I do it on camera, sometimes I do it off camera, and I'm going to do the big reveal here. And here we've got the Best Mom Ever. This is what I'm going to use for my sentiment. You can see it turned out pretty good. Not perfect. I'm going to cut this paper in half, and I thought this thing is heated up and foiled, and I know I'm going to make more Mother's Day cards. So I'm going to go ahead and glimmer another sentiment. And for this one, I'm going to use To the Best Mom Ever, and I'll line that up. I'm going to bring in some gold foil for this, and I'm going to foil this one. And this is just kind of part of the process. I'm not going to work with it, but I thought, hey, it's out, it's heated up, let's go ahead and make the most of it. When I get my glimmer out, I usually do like to do a lot of glimmering. Now here I'm looking for a die that I can die cut this out with, and so I just grabbed a labels set from my stash, and I'm just going to use this to die cut it out. I could just use my trimmer and just kind of make a square, but I thought a rectangle would be more fun, and I could kind of add some flowers to it. So I'm just going to tape it off, run it through my die cutting machine, and we'll have our sentiment. Then I think we'll have all of the elements to put our card together. And while I'm in the meantime of that, this was ready, and so I went ahead and ran it through the Spellbinders Platinum 6, and we'll do a reveal on this, knowing that we're not going to use this, but we've got our To the Best Mom Ever, and I can lay that aside for another one of the Mother's Day cards that I'm going to make for my daughter's event. So I've got my Best Mom Ever die cut out, and I'm just taking some washi tape and picking up some overfoiling that is on there and just kind of cleaning up the edges a little bit. And now we've got our sentiment for our card. And so I've got all the elements that I need. So my air fryer was beeping in the background, so I had to pause, run in there, and turn off my chicken strips. So they're good to go. I thought I'd go ahead and finish this voice over. They can cool a little bit because they're going to go on a salad anyway. And then I will be able to have my lunch. So I've got that Oceanside cardstock here. This was a full piece panel that was laying in my scrap bin. And I thought, well, we're going to use it. So I'm just going to lay it down on here. I probably should have gutted the middle just because I love to gut the middle of Spellbinders cardstock so I can use it. But for whatever reason, I didn't. And then I've got a little white edge on my card base hanging off here. And I'm going to use this guillotine and give it a good chop. Try and get it through there and get just that fragment off of there so that you don't see that little bit of white. And then we're going to bring in our elements. And I took the Posy and Dot Duo 3D embossing folder. This is one that you can get a polka dot or you can get a Posy pattern on it. And I ran it through the Platinum 6, and I cut it down to 3 3/4 by 5 so that we have a nice frame around here. And we're going to bring in our Best Mom Ever sentiment, and we're going to bring in our classic kicks with our flowers and get it laid down on here. And this is going to pull together our card. And I'm going to have another card for the event. So I'm going to just keep working on these. I'll probably bring some of them to my channel, probably maybe do some of them offsite, but I'm just trying to pull together a bunch of Mother's Day cards because she's having an event before Mother's Day and she wanted me to have some cards available so that the ladies could purchase some cards for Mother's Day while they're at the event. She usually has collaborations in her events. I'm not sure who else is going to be there. I have collaborated before and brought cards. In fact, one of the collaborations I did was Mother's Day, probably a couple years ago. And but she'll usually bring in jewelry artists, sometimes smoothie artists, health food artists and stuff. And she has a tanning business, and she'll bring in and just kind of have a collaboration of small businesses. And she usually has a pretty good crowd, and they have a lot of fun. She always serves hors d'oeuvres and drinks, and just has a pretty good group of people that show up. So that's what I'm preparing these for. So I'm going to bring in my just my little foam squares. They're just 1mm dimensions, and we're going to add some on here just to add some dimension to our flowers, and just so that I can have some, glued flat and some popped up, and just kind of do it like that. And we'll just kind of pair some of these together. I've got those purple flowers that I haven't put any centers on, and I really don't want them to be center stage, but I'm going to have them just add some color. So I'm going to kind of tuck them behind some of the flowers and just to add another little color there, and I think it'll be fun. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue on there, bringing in my glue press, and we'll just get all these laid down on here. And we're just going to fill this tennis shoe just full of flowers and leaves, and just kind of fill in the areas. And I'm just going to pop them up. I had a heck of a time with the foam squares. I kept getting them like stuck to my fingers. I'll pull one off and then have another one stuck to my finger. And I'm auditioning, as Jana says. I'm just looking for different places to put the flowers and figuring out where I want to land them. And so I'll just keep tucking and putting things in, just trying to decide what I'm doing. I'm thinking about putting some flowers there by the sentiment, and I do wind up doing that. There's just a little spot on the R that the foil wasn't perfect, and I thought, well, I can just lay a flower over it, just kind of cover it up, and it'll be fine. And I'm going to pair it with one of the mulberry flowers as well, and try and get this thing stuck on here. Here it's sticking to my finger now, and I'm like, come on, get it on there. And it just keeps sticking to my finger. I'm like, really? Anyway, and I'm going to bring in one of our oceanside leaves, and we'll just tuck that on there and just kind of fill it in and just kind of cover up some of the white space on there. And I don't think I use every piece that we've got here, but we'll use a lot of them. And just kind of tuck them in. And I'm having trouble with my glue, so I'm grabbing my other glue bottle and trying to get some glue to come out so we can just do some tucking. I'm going to tuck this big flower here behind our shoe. I'm going to bring in some more of our leaves and some more of our flowers and just tuck them in and just kind of add some more flowers around the shoe. And here I'm going to bring in another center for this. I've got some stray bits and pieces. And I'll just bring in some of that oceanside center and just layer it on the purple cardstock that we've got there. And I had it flipped over the wrong way, had to turn it and get it laid down right. And I'll just add a little foam square to this too. And here's where I've got another one stuck to my finger. I'm going to add it back to the sheet so that I can use it again. It's like a calamity of errors. And we'll just tuck that in. I'm just going to push everything out of the way. I think I'm done for now. And we'll take a look at it and see. And then I decided, no, let's tuck some more of these leaves in. I've got all these leaves. So I'll just tuck it in there. I think this is where I've concluded that I have enough laid down on there, but I'm going to bring in some embellishments. So I've just got some, I don't know, silver gems from Spellbinders, and I've got some little bitty ones, and I'm just using those to position around the card and on some of the flower centers. I don't do all of them, but I do some of the smaller ones and just add some sparkles to that, and just adds a little bit of interest. I will bring in another one and put it on our sentiment area. I thought I was going to put it on there, didn't like it, pulled it off, and then I'll wind up bringing it back in, and I'll put it on up there by the sentiment area. And I was just doing that so I had an odd number. I've got 5 of them on there. And that'll finish off our card. I think it turned out nice. Here's a picture. If you like, consider hitting that like, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.